All right. Okay, let's face it, with the economy the way that it is these days, trying to get a loan, a job, a raise can be extremely difficult.
I can't even negotiate a cup of coffee out of you.
Really?
Women are so notoriously bad at negotiating, and that is exactly why Terri Murphy with the Women's Wisdom Network has pinpointed the top 5 mistakes we make when negotiating. I assume some men, Terri, are not that great at it either, so they can get some help here.
Well, actually, in our country, we don't negotiate. We don't walk into Costco or Kroger and say, listen, you've got 1,500 cans of beans. This one's kind of beat up. Can I get it for 30 cents? But in a third,
we do that, Terri?
well,
is
because
it a
is it not polite?
cultural thing, a societal thing? What
it's
is
a cultural thing here. In third world countries, if you can't negotiate, you don't eat. And this is all from Dr. George Lucas, who is the premier trainer on negotiating with what we call collaborative negotiation.
With the economy the way it is, are we about to get a lot better at negotiating, you
Well,
think?
I think the first issue is we don't invest in any kind of negotiation training. I mean, maybe you read a book, but you take a seminar. But the fact is, negotiating is not something you do when you need it. It's an ongoing process of bringing people to a win-win collaborative state so that you can actually discover their needs and their wants.
So what do we need to do there, Terri? Do we need to take that seminar? Do we need to read that book? What will enable us to get there?
It would not hurt. I mean, certainly in other countries, they negotiate every day, so they're very good. It's like exercising every day. You're going to see some results. And so if we would just look at everything as what are the real wants and the needs here, and can we separate them, and how can we reach a collaborative space. We talk about practicing with your dry cleaner. You know, your dry cleaner will say, well, we'll have this ready for you Wednesday. And just for fun, just say, well, I really need it Tuesday, and then don't say anything. And watch what could happen. You'd say, okay, we can make that happen. So we don't even practice. We don't have the mindset of saying, this is what my need is. Can we make this happen?
But to get us to that point, though, isn't
Take
there...
a seminar.
Take a seminar.
Read a book.
But is there also maybe a fear of confronting a person?
That's step number 2. Actually, Dr. George Lucas calls it negotiophobia. Because we have this avoiding confrontation. Now, women particularly, especially as the peacekeepers in a family, we're looking for everybody be happy. How can we make you happy? And accommodation is not a strategy. It's like lying down and giving it up. So definitely.
So don't be a pleaser.
Well, it's not about pleasing. It's about finding out what you really want. And so often, women don't ever say what they really want for fear of being too aggressive.
Right.
And it's not about men or women being better. It's just how good are you personally, regardless of gender, are you at understanding what you want and what you need.
Okay, so don't lay down and let them walk.
Don't let them lay. Accommodation's not a strategy.
Okay,
the third challenge, women are less likely to ask. That's part of being a pleaser, right? Do we think we're being bad girls if we say, this is what I need?
Well, I think that there's a real fine line between being too aggressive and being clear for women particularly. It's not about being, strong like men. It's just about being clear. And so often, women will not ask for what they want, and the other party doesn't even know that they want it.
Well, why can't they read our minds, Terri?
Okay, there you go. Very bad.
Read your mind?
Okay, here we go.
That's a challenge enough as it is right there.
I thought you were going to say it's a short book.
Exactly. Have you ever said to your husband, well, you should know what I want?
Oh, all the
poor
time.
things, they can't know that. So what we want to do is really say what we want, and we don't ask. As a matter of fact, there's a book out by Linda Babcock and Sarah Lashiver that said why women don't ask, and their male students would ask for things that the female students would not, and so they would leave literally that money on the table, those opportunities on the table, when in fact they were there. So it's not a question of being aggressive, it's a question of saying, wait, I'd really like that.
Right. Now when we, Terri, look at...
out knives at the thought of asking.
Okay, it's going to be okay. Now, Terri, when we look at the table, though, and those concessions are out there, well, at least in some cases, do we make ineffective concessions? Do we put those on the table? Is that a mistake as well sometimes?
Well, that's number 4, ineffective concessions. So often we think that if we give up something, that'll make things better. And there are some things at the end that you can just kind of throw in that really don't make any difference. But here's one of the biggest mistakes women make. We shake on it, think we've got the transaction completed. That's negotiations are done.
Right.
Not done. There's multiple phases of negotiating. So just because the agreement was verbally agreed to, we want it in writing. We want to make absolutely sure that no one's nibbling, which is another term that George has made effective. Okay. And that is like getting a little bit more after. So saying, well, we're going to give you that raise, but on the other hand, we really want you to work every other Saturday. And would you mind working on the holiday after the holiday? You see what I'm saying? So that's that little process. So the handshake is not the final transaction. There are multiple phases.
So women with not making effective concessions will end up working the holidays and working the weekends because they have thought it's done?
Wasn't clear. Wasn't clear. You want to be really clear. And when he talks about, he does a whole program on active listening and confirming the essentials. Now let me just be sure I understand what you said, Alex. This is what I heard you say. And we don't do this in this country. We're fast. We think everything's clear. And in fact, there are so many miscommunications that really could have been avoided had we confirmed.
And the last mistake?
Well, we don't prepare and we don't practice.
Do your homework.
Well, preparation is not just about, well, I'm going to say this, and you're going to say, it's not verbal gymnastics. Finding out the difference between a customer or a client or prospective buyer's needs and wants. They may need a new product, but what they want is faster service. And if you can address that by looking at go to their website, do some due diligence interviews. So when you get to the negotiating table, you're prepared. You know a lot about them. They understand that you actually care. So it's not about, if I find out all this stuff, I'm going to get my way. It's about, how can I bring to the table the collaborative points that will make us win-win.
And hitting the want is more important if you have to choose than hitting the need? I mean, you try to hit both.
Absolutely. And the practice thing, practice. I mean, we don't negotiate with our dog for a walk at night. We negotiate with that kid for an extra cookie.
Right.
So what we want to do is practice when it doesn't count. Do it with your dry cleaners. Do it when you're working with people at a bazaar, that kind of thing. But practice.
Okay. And go to Women's Wisdom Network. There it is where you'll find it online.
Free.
You'll have George Lucas's interview with more on this.
Yes, it's under podcast.
Terry said it is free.
All right, can I practice right now?
No.
I would like to speak.
No. No concessions here at all. No, that's it.
I love it when
Jennifer says, I would like you to rap.
That's it. Our producer
We
is
can do
talking to us.
that.
Terry, thank you so much,
You're
as
welcome.
always.
Thank you.
We'll be back.